8 decades past their peak, Laurel and Hardy persist as comedic legends. Their timeless comedic essence has granted them immortality in the cultural landscape, transcending mortality. Yet, the winds of fortune shifted with their studio change in the early 1940s, plunging them into a downward spiral of waning popularity and relentless hardships, spanning from financial ruin to health afflictions. It's clear that even our funniest actors are not immune to tragedy and grief. Tamchi, Laurel and Hardy may have had more tragedy than their fair share of both. This video will reveal it all to you. Laurel Hardy, famously known as Oliver Hardy, entered the world in Harlem, Georgia in 1892, against the backdrop of personal tragedy. His father, Oliver Hardy Sr., passed away mere months after his birth, leaving his mother, Emily, to shoulder the responsibility of raising him and his siblings. Emily, a resilient woman, managed to provide for her family by overseeing hotels and boarding houses, instilling in young Norvell a sense of perseverance and determination from an early age. As Norvell transitioned into his teenage years, he began to adopt the name Oliver as a tribute to his late father, a poignant gesture that reflected his deep reverence for the man he never truly knew. However, fate dealt another cruel blow to the Hardy family when tragedy struck once more during Norvell's adolescence. At the age of 17, Norvell experienced the devastating loss of his beloved older brother, Sam, in a heartbreaking accident recounted by the Union Recorder. During a visit home, the brothers embarked on a leisurely afternoon swim at the Oconee River's Old Mill Dam. In a moment of youthful exuberance, Sam, eager to impress his younger sibling, climbed a nearby tree and leaped into the river from a lofty branch. Tragically, his daring plunge proved fatal as he misjudged the water's depth, colliding with submerged rocks and breaking his neck upon impact. The scene unfolded in a nightmare of shock and grief as Norvell and his companions leaped into action, pulling Sam's lifeless body from the river's embrace. Frantically, they carried him back to the sanctuary of their mother's hotel, where the somber reality of Sam's passing settled like a heavy shroud over the household. Despite their desperate efforts, they could not reverse the cruel hand of fate, and Sam was lost forever to the waters that had claimed him. Decades later, the wounds of that fateful day remained fresh in Norvell's heart, a poignant testament to the enduring impact of loss on a young boy thrust prematurely into the harsh realities of mortality. When the specter of his brother's untimely death resurfaced during his appearance on the television program, "This Is Your Life," Norvell's emotions overflowed, underscoring the profound and lasting imprint that Sam's passing had left upon his soul. While Arthur Stanley Jefferson's birthplace bore the air of artistic fervor, young Stan's upbringing was marked by the paradox of familial closeness juxtaposed with profound solitude. The stage was Stan's ancestral home, inherited from his parents, both esteemed performers and theater managers, whose nomadic lifestyle mirrored the transient nature of their profession. Yet, amid the footlights and the applause, Stan often found himself relegated to the shadows of isolation. His parents' itinerant lifestyle meant that Stan, frail and sickly in his youth, was frequently left behind while they traversed the theatrical circuit. It was a childhood marked by solitude, spent in the company of his grandparents, George and Sarah Metcalf. The Metcalfs, though kind-hearted, were stern custodians of discipline, and Stan's days were often colored by the somber hues of solitude in the rustic confines of their property. Secluded in a humble shack, Stan weathered the storm of punishment for youthful indiscretions, a testament to the strict upbringing that shaped his formative years. Yet, amidst the solitude, seeds of creativity were sown, and Stan's fertile imagination found solace in the world of make-believe. As Stan matured, he emerged from the cocoon of solitude, his creative spirit unfurling like a delicate blossom in the fertile soil of his imagination. Fueled by a passion for performance inherited from his theatrical lineage, Stan embarked on a journey of self-discovery, weaving tales and penning plays that bore the indelible mark of his artistic vision. However, his artistic aspirations were met with initial resistance from his parents, who harbored hopes of his joining them in the family business. Undeterred by familial expectations, Stan forged ahead on his chosen path, fueled by a burning desire to carve his own legacy in the annals of theater. Despite the initial disappointment of his parents, they ultimately rallied behind him, offering their unwavering support for his dreams. Yet, just as Stan's star began to ascend, tragedy cast its dark shadow across his path. At the tender age of 18, he was confronted with the heart-wrenching loss of his beloved mother, Madge, whose untimely demise left a chasm of grief in his heart. Suspected to have succumbed to a respiratory illness exacerbated by the polluted air of Glasgow, where the family had relocated, Madge's passing struck Stan with a profound sense of loss and bewilderment. For Stan, the pain of his mother's death was compounded by the revelation of his father's infidelity, a betrayal that cast a pall of bitterness over his grief-stricken heart. According to his second wife, Virginia Ruth Rogers, Stan's anguish knew no bounds, and the gaping wound left by his mother's absence would linger as a haunting specter throughout his life, a testament to the enduring power of love and loss. The dynamic duo of Laurel and Hardy owed much of their charm to the stark physical contrast between the two. Stan Laurel's slender, forlorn figure stood in stark juxtaposition to the robust frame of Oliver Hardy, a pairing that captivated audiences with its inherent charm and comedic synergy. Oliver Hardy's imposing stature, weighing in at over 300 pounds for much of his life, as noted by the Vintage News, became an integral part of his persona, defining his on-screen presence and contributing to the duo's timeless appeal. However, behind the laughter lay a poignant tale of struggle and adversity, rooted in Hardy's lifelong battle with weight-related health issues and the lingering scars of childhood taunts. From a young age, Hardy bore the burden of his substantial girth, earning him the moniker Fatty Hardy in the eyes of his peers. Even as fame beckoned on the glittering stages of Hollywood, the echoes of childhood ridicule persisted, with locals in his Georgia hometown continuing to refer to him by his childhood nickname. The wounds of his youth were further exacerbated by the well-intentioned yet misguided actions of his mother, who, managing local boarding houses, subjected her son to further humiliation by compelling him to parade around town wearing a sandwich board advertising her establishment's fare. As Hardy matured, his physicality continued to overshadow his talents, casting a shadow over his aspirations and dreams. When the call to arms beckoned with the onset of World War I, Hardy, driven by a sense of patriotic duty, sought to enlist in the ranks of the armed forces. However, his noble intentions were met with derision and scorn as military officers. Blinded by prejudice and ignorance, subjected him to mockery and ridicule, reducing him to a spectacle for their own amusement. Oliver Hardy's imposing stature, a defining characteristic that earned him the moniker Fatty from a tender age, served as both a source of identity and a harbinger of health concerns that would plague him throughout his life. From childhood to adulthood, Hardy's formidable frame loomed large, shaping his experiences and perceptions of self. As he ventured into the realm of entertainment, his size became an intrinsic part of his persona, earning him the nickname Babe Hardy and distinguishing him in the annals of Hollywood history. However, behind the facade of joviality and larger-than-life charisma lay a profound struggle with the physical toll exacted by his weight. By the 1950s, confronted with the specter of declining health, Hardy resolved to undertake a radical transformation, embarking on a crash diet in a desperate bid to shed excess pounds. The results were staggering, as Hardy achieved a remarkable weight loss of 150 pounds, a feat that elicited a mix of astonishment and concern from those who knew him best. The drastic change in Hardy's appearance while celebrated as a triumph of willpower and determination, elicited an unexpected reaction from friends and family who were visibly unsettled by the dramatic alteration in his physique. Stricken by the disconcerting realization that his transformation had elicited discomfort rather than applause, Hardy retreated into near seclusion, seeking solace in the company of a select few trusted confidants, including his cherished friend and longtime collaborator, Stan Laurel. Tragically, Hardy's efforts to reclaim his health were eclipsed by a series of devastating setbacks. In September 1956, he suffered a catastrophic stroke that left him paralyzed and bereft of speech, robbing him of the ability to communicate effectively or engage with the world around him. As his condition deteriorated, Hardy's wife turned to Laurel, inviting him to provide comfort and solace to his ailing friend during moments of agitation and despair. In the waning months of his life, Hardy's once indomitable spirit succumbed to the ravages of illness as he battled against the relentless advance of cancer and endured the anguish of additional strokes. In the vibrant landscape of 1920s Hollywood, both Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy navigated the tumultuous waters of show business, their talents shining bright but yet to find the acclaim they deserved. It was against this backdrop that Hollywood producer Hal Roach, recognizing the latent potential of the duo, orchestrated their fateful union in the landmark film The Second 100 Years in 1927. Under Roach's expert guidance, Laurel and Hardy ascended the dizzying heights of stardom, their comedic chemistry and undeniable charm captivating audiences worldwide. However, behind the veneer of success lay a complex web of contractual entanglements and financial misfortunes, orchestrated with meticulous precision by Roach to maintain his stranglehold over the duo. Roach's shrewd negotiating tactics ensured that Laurel and Hardy remained at a perpetual disadvantage, their contracts staggered to prevent joint negotiations, and their earnings capped with flat wages rather than a percentage of profits. Despite their significant contributions to the creative process, Laurel and Hardy were denied rightful ownership of copyrights and screenwriting credits, a bitter reality that belied their artistic endeavors. As the duo grappled with personal challenges, including divorces and financial obligations, their fortunes took a downward spiral. Oliver Hardy, burdened by mounting alimony payments and ensnared by a burgeoning gambling addiction, found himself mired in financial ruin. The 1950s witnessed a desperate attempt to alleviate their financial woes through a live tour of English music halls, a venture doomed to failure when Hardy's health faltered, forcing the cancellation of the tour and further exacerbating their financial woes. Tragically, Oliver Hardy passed away in surprising destitution, his once illustrious career overshadowed by financial hardship. Meanwhile, Stan Laurel, confronted with the harsh realities of financial insecurity, found himself forced to confront his own precarious financial situation with meager savings and a paltry monthly stipend as his only lifeline. As the 1950s dawned, Stan Laurel found himself grappling with the inexorable march of time and the relentless assault of health challenges. Laurel's once indomitable spirit was tested by a litany of ailments, each imposing its own toll on his physical and emotional well-being. Chronic prostate problems cast a shadow over Laurel's life, necessitating medical intervention to address the lingering discomfort and complications stemming from the condition. The discovery of an ulcer on his prostate necessitated surgical removal, thrusting Laurel into the unforgiving crucible of medical intervention and recovery. Compounding Laurel's health woes was the relentless onslaught of diabetes, a pernicious disease that exacted a toll on his vitality and resilience. The intricate dance of managing blood sugar levels and navigating the precarious balance of health and illness became an ever-present reality for Laurel as he grappled with the daily challenges imposed by his diagnosis. In 1955, Laurel confronted a harrowing brush with mortality when he suffered a stroke, an ominous portent of the fragility of life and the looming specter of mortality. Though he emerged from the ordeal with his life spared, the stroke left Laurel weakened and debilitated, a mere shadow of his former self. The untimely demise of his dear friend and longtime collaborator, Oliver Hardy, in 1957, cast a pall of sadness over Laurel's world, leaving him adrift in a sea of grief and uncertainty. Rather than forging ahead with solo endeavors, Laurel chose to quietly retreat from the limelight, eschewing the allure of fame and fortune in favor of solitude and introspection. With his beloved wife, Ida, by his side, Laurel sought solace in the familiarity of a small apartment in Santa Monica, finding refuge in the sanctuary of domesticity and the quiet companionship of his faithful companion. Yet, despite the tranquility of his surroundings, Laurel's heart remained heavy with the weight of loss and longing for his departed friend. In the twilight of his life, Laurel found solace in the act of correspondence, pouring his heart and soul into the written word as a means of connection and catharsis. Hours were spent penning letters to fans and acquaintances alike, offering glimpses into the inner workings of his mind and the depths of his enduring humanity. Yet amidst the flurry of letters and missives exchanged, Laurel found himself drawn to a poignant act of creative expression, penning comedy routines designed for Laurel and Hardy, a bittersweet homage to a partnership that transcended the boundaries of time and space. In these moments of creative reverie, Laurel found solace in the familiar rhythms of laughter and camaraderie, a testament to the enduring bond that united him with his dear friend Oliver Hardy. The bond shared between Oliver Hardy and Stan Laurel transcended the realms of mere professional partnership, evolving into a profound and enduring friendship that underscored their unique dynamic both on and off screen. Amidst the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, Laurel and Hardy stood out not only for their comedic prowess, but also for the genuine camaraderie that defined their relationship. Their professional collaboration was characterized by a remarkable level of trust and mutual respect, as Laurel assumed a leading role in shaping the material for their films, a testament to the creative synergy that flourished between them. Despite the machinations of producer Hal Roach, who sought to divide and conquer by forcing them to negotiate their contracts separately, Laurel and Hardy remained steadfast in their solidarity, refusing to entertain the notion of working alone. As recounted by the Vintage News, Laurel and Hardy's friendship extended far beyond the confines of the studio lot, with Laurel emerging as one of the few individuals granted access to Hardy's reclusive world in his twilight years. Hardy's declining health, compounded by a significant weight loss born out of concern for his well-being, served as a poignant reminder of the passage of time and the fragility of life. In the face of adversity, Laurel's unwavering loyalty and steadfast companionship provided solace to Hardy, offering a beacon of light amidst the encroaching shadows of illness and isolation. However, tragedy struck with devastating force when Hardy suffered a massive stroke in 1957, plunging Laurel into a profound state of grief and despair. As chronicled by the Los Angeles Times, Laurel and Hardy's creative process was characterized by a harmonious blend of improvisation and careful planning, as they meticulously crafted their scenes in collaboration with producer Hal Roach. Despite Roach's role as a hard-nosed negotiator, the duo enjoyed a remarkable degree of creative freedom, with the latitude to improvise and direct scenes to their liking. However, the specter of contractual constraints loomed large over Laurel and Hardy's partnership, as Roach ensured that they remained beholden to separate negotiations and devoid of ownership rights to their work. In 1941, seizing the opportunity for greater autonomy, Laurel and Hardy made the pivotal decision to part ways with Roach, signing new deals with 20th Century Fox and Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, MGM. Yet, as the Chicago Tribune recounts, the transition proved bittersweet, as they discovered that the creative control they had enjoyed under Roach was conspicuously absent at MGM. At MGM, Laurel and Hardy found themselves relegated to the role of hired actors, stripped of their influence over scripts and direction. The resulting films of the 1940s were deemed to be of inferior quality compared to their earlier works, marking a decline in their illustrious careers. Faced with waning popularity and diminishing creative satisfaction, Laurel and Hardy made the disheartening decision to retire in 1945. However, the allure of the silver screen proved irresistible, leading them to briefly emerge from retirement to create what is widely regarded as their lowest point in cinematic history. The ill-fated film Atoll K in 1951, as documented by the New Georgia Encyclopedia. By 1953, the once celebrated duo found themselves destitute and disillusioned, forced to bid farewell to the film industry that had once been their playground of laughter and joy. As Laurel and Hardy entered the final phase of their illustrious film career, they found themselves ensnared in a downward spiral of decline and disappointment, a stark contrast to the zenith of their comedic brilliance that had once captivated audiences worldwide. The transition to a new film studio in the 1940s marked a pivotal turning point as Laurel and Hardy relinquished creative control over their work, ushering in an era of diminished quality and waning popularity. With changing public tastes and the loss of creative autonomy, Laurel and Hardy's once illustrious careers began to falter, culminating in their virtual retirement by 1945. However, a glimmer of hope emerged on the horizon with the end of World War II, as international distribution of their films sparked renewed interest in the beloved duo's cinematic offerings. The decision to relaunch their film careers with a French-Italian co-production, later known as Atoll K, proved to be a disastrous misstep. Language barriers and a woefully inadequate script compounded the challenges faced by Laurel and Hardy, whose health had begun to falter under the weight of age and illness. Oliver Hardy, burdened by his heaviest weight and plagued by heart problems exacerbated by a serious bout of the flu, grappled with the debilitating effects of declining health. Meanwhile, Stan Laurel confronted his own health challenges, contending with diabetes and a prostate condition that sapped his vitality and resilience. Compounding their woes, Laurel and Hardy were heavy smokers in an era when smoking was commonplace, further exacerbating their health issues and hastening their decline. As production of Atoll K faltered and scenes had to be halted for the actors to recuperate, the toll of their failing health became painfully evident, with Stan Laurel appearing to age a decade in a matter of seconds. In a final, heartbreaking twist of fate, the producers struggled to secure theatrical release for the film, relegating the final chapter of Laurel and Hardy's cinematic legacy to obscurity and ignominy. You might not know this. At the tender age of 21, Hardy embarked on his first matrimonial voyage, exchanging vows with Madeline Soloshin in a clandestine ceremony in Macon, Georgia. The decision to elope stemmed from the exigencies of their itinerant lifestyles as members of touring theatrical troupes, a testament to their impulsive yet passionate love. However, the joy of a newfound union was marred by familial discord, with Hardy's mother expressing vehement opposition to the match. While ostensibly attributed to Soloshin's seniority, author Simon Luvish unveils a darker undercurrent of prejudice lurking beneath the surface. Soloshin's Jewish heritage. Faced with the specter of familial strife and societal bigotry, Hardy and Soloshin sought refuge in a hasty departure from Georgia, leaving behind the echoes of familial disapproval. Yet their union proved fragile, unraveling under the weight of undisclosed turmoil and irreconcilable differences. After 6 tumultuous years, Hardy, disillusioned by the disillusionment of his marital aspirations, initiated divorce proceedings, lamenting the sham of a union that had failed to fulfill its promise of happiness. Undeterred by the bitter taste of marital disappointment, Hardy embarked on a second chapter of romance, exchanging vows with Myrtle Rivas shortly after his divorce from Soloshin. However, their union was fraught with its own set of challenges, as Reeves battled with the demons of alcoholism, relegating their marriage to a cycle of despair and estrangement. Luvish paints a portrait of Hardy's anguish as he grappled with the agony of a love unrequited, his heart yearning for solace amidst the tempestuous seas of marital strife. Salvation would eventually come in the form of Virginia Lucille Jones, a beacon of light amidst the darkness of Hardy's romantic misfortunes. Finding solace in her unwavering love and companionship, Hardy's tumultuous journey reached a semblance of tranquility as he exchanged vows with Jones, his steadfast partner until the twilight of his days. Stan Laurel's romantic life, marked by a series of marriages and divorces, stands as a testament to the complexities of love and the tumultuous nature of relationships amidst the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. The comedic genius behind Laurel's on-screen persona was juxtaposed by the tumultuous nature of his personal life, characterized by a string of marriages and divorces that rivaled the plot lines of any Hollywood melodrama. Laurel's journey into matrimony commenced in 1917 with his union to Maya Dahlberg, an older woman from Australia whom Laurel considered his common-law wife. However, their relationship was fraught with difficulty, with Dahlberg's demanding nature casting a shadow over their domestic bliss. Producer Joe Rock intervened, offering Dahlberg financial compensation to return to Australia, effectively ending their tumultuous union. Despite Dahlberg's eventual return and subsequent legal battles for financial support, Laurel was relieved to see her depart, paving the way for his next chapter in love. Lois Nielsen entered Laurel's life as his next romantic prospect, but their marital bliss was short-lived. Laurel's infidelity marred their union, culminating in divorce after 8 years of tumultuous matrimony. Undeterred by heartbreak, Laurel wasted no time in pursuing his next romantic endeavor, marrying Virginia Ruth Rogers in rapid succession. However, their marriage was plagued by Laurel's lingering feelings for Nielsen, leading to its demise after a mere 2 years. The carousel of marriages continued for Laurel, who found himself entangled in a volatile relationship with Vera Ivanova Shuvalova. Shuvalova's struggles with alcoholism and accusations of bizarre abuse, including an alleged attempt by Laurel to bury her alive, underscored the tumultuous nature of their union. Despite the acrimony of their divorce, Laurel found himself drawn back to familiar territory, remarrying Rogers in a fleeting attempt at reconciliation that lasted 5 years. Amidst the tumult of failed relationships, Laurel finally found solace in the arms of Ida Kitaeva Raphael, who would become his devoted companion until his final days. Their union, forged in the twilight years of Laurel's life, was marked by a profound sense of mutual understanding and companionship, offering Laurel the stability and love he had long sought. What do you think about the tragedies that Laurel and Hardy had to go through? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this, and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.